Our Department of Defense Directive, the number 553509, DoD Branding and Trademark Licensing Program, 5122.5, Assistant Secretary of Defense of Public Affairs, in Title 10 U.S. Standard Code, Title 15 U.S. Standard Code, Assistant Secretary of Defense Memorandum Trademark Licensing Implementation June 27, 2005, hereby canceled. And this is subject DoD Branding Trading Mark Licensing Program. Purpose of the current with guidance or reference over the direction of the established policies of some of the responsibility under the authority of Section 2260, reference B and C, subsupersede with the reference D, provide guidance to implementation maintaining program license marks as defined below, only control of the Department of Defense, including the military department's authorized directive of Section 2260, reference B and reference C. Applicability and scope of the director apply with the Office of Secretary of Defense of the Military Department's Office of the Center of the Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff Combat Command's Office of the Inspector General of the Department of Defense Engine, the DoD Working Capital Fund activity, DoD Field activity, other organizational entity of the Department of Defense here and thereafter, reflectively, collectively, as the DoD components determine the military departments here and then refer to the Department of the Army, the Department of the Navy, the include of the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, with whenever operations serve with the Department of the Navy, Department of the Air Force, including active of the reserve components. Definition: mark. Term includes a trademark, certificating mark, a certification mark, collective with the mark owned, collective with the DoD components. All such marks have the meanings assigned according to Section 1127 in reference C. Branding: a copy program process creating awareness, public and goodwill of the positive image of the Department of Defense components throughout the marketing and promoting of the marks. Licensing: you, the director of the term, include with the person and company with the organization who the mark is control of the DoD components with respect to the nature of the quality of the goods, service, in connection with the mark is used. Trademark licensing program: a program license or mark under the authority granted with the directive of the Section 2260 of the reference B and reference C. Marks need not to be registered under the Trademark Act with the reference C with the license pursuant to the terms of the directive. License agency: you, the director, as using the director shall include with any of the person or organization or serve with the agent of the DoD component for the purpose of assessing the DoD component security license, collecting royalty fees on the other operational function dealing with the DoD component trademark licensing program. Officer, Secretary of Defense Agency, using the director of the term of the DoD Working Capital Fund activity, DoD Field activity, DoD components excluding the military department policy. It's DoD policy consistent with Section 2260 of the reference B with the reference C to establish, maintain program license marks owned and control of the DoD components registered with the protect of the marks owned by the Office of Secretary of Defense Agencies, implement the program set forth in the directive responsibility. Assistant Secretary of the Defense of the Public Affairs with accordance with the Section 138C with the reference B with the delegate with the authority to perform the tasks and duties assigned with the directive shall serve the DoD proponent with the DoD branding trademark licensing program, establishing branding trademark licensing office of management for the coordinator with the DoD wide brand development trademark licensing program authorized in Section 2260 reference B and reference C. Officers may establish the non-appropriate funding at even established military implement programs. Objectives shall include but not limited to enhance the name of the reputation, public goodwill of the DoD components with the broadcasting brand promoting licensing program that provides quality branded products, services at reasonable prices, supporting recruiting and retention efforts of the military department, supporting civilian recruiting and retention efforts of the DoD components, increase the availability of all licensed product services bearing with the DoD components that serve as sold by the military outlets through the services stores of serving the public, ensure the administrative procedures, administrative burden with the DoD components prospective license, and ensure that they coordinate with between the DoD components operating brand promotion trademark licensing program. This shall include practical setting of the uniform license requirement, royalty rates, product quality control standards, government licensing, generate license revenue, reducing and eliminating program costs of the government, providing license support, morale, welfare, recreation activities of the Office of Secretary of Defense Agency and Military Department, strengthening the march of the DoD components through licensing and by expanding the number of registered trademarks they own. They own both the United States abroad, preventing infringement or of marks, issuing instruction, policy guidelines, reporting requirement to the Department of Defense components regarding the licensed marks of the operating branding and trademarking licensing program necessary to implement the program, carrying out the policies of the objectives set forth on the directive. Establish operative of the program and the registration, license, and brand of the development of funds of the own with the Office of Secretary of Defense Agencies authorized in reference to the shall include the provision providing support and guidance area of the trademark trademark registration and developing of the Office of Secretary of Defense Agency, providing assistance to the Department of Defense component of the operation and branding trademark licensing agreement, meeting requirements set forth in the directive, determine the cost of the securing of the trademark registration cost of operating licensing program as termed as used in Section 2260, Reference B, so the policy determining the fees for the trademark licensing program, the total amount of the need of the capital cost for the operating licensing program, fishery with the extent of the under the review section 2260C2, Reference B, how excess fees should be used in the morale, welfare, recreation activities established coordinated with the Undersecretary of the Defense, Comptroller, Financial Pursuit with accounting procedure guidelines regarding collection and disbursement funds received with the license mark with the shown include was not limited to setting policy regulating how license agency the licensee should receive the hold for trademark licensing fees, setting policy regulating manner of the military departments and receive the hold on account of the trademark licensing revenues. Secretary of Military Department operating trademark license agreement issued with additional guidelines issued with operating such programs, such for the organization program documents developed and consolidation assistance. Secretary of Defense Public Affairs ensure the compliance with the DoD policy. If the military department is affected with the exercise of the authority under Section 5.1, restrict with the fees expense for the belief of the exercise of the authority and consistent with the Section 2260 of the Reference B, or contrary to sound operation of the DoD branding trademark licensing program of the Secretary of Military Department may bring in concern with the attention of the Assistant Secretary of Defense Public Affairs Secretary believe the concern that adequately addressed the Assistant Secretary of Defense Public Affairs they can brought the Deputy Secretary of Defense consideration resolution releasability unlimited directive that is approved of the public. This directive is approved for public release. Copies may be detained with the Internet of the DoD agent's website at dtc.mil.whs directives 50-day directive effective immediately. Gordon, England. Alright, this was DoD Branding Trademarking Licensing Program Department of Defense Directive.